All right. I learned at this point to give it a few seconds before I start talking because sometimes it takes a second to get everything going. Um, but as soon as I talk for a few seconds here, I'm going to just double check that I'm sounding good on my phone here. All right. We should be good to go. Well, welcome to the stream. It looks like we're coming up here on 30 minutes until the draft starts. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Should be a really good draft. And so I'm excited to talk through it with everyone here. And I guess really the reason why I'm so excited specifically about this draft as a Vikings fan is because so many things I think could happen. And I'm just excited to sit back and I'm not necessarily going to be upset. Well, okay, I take that back. There's definitely going to be some decisions the Vikings could make that I would be upset with, but everything within reason, I think I would be happy with because the Vikings have so many different decisions they could make. Now, let's go over some of the things that have been happening the last few days that are kind of bringing things into focus a little bit more for the Vikings. So, we found out a couple days ago that multiple reports are saying the Commanders are pretty much staying at two no matter what. I never really expected them to trade out, but it was kind of confirmed by multiple sources at that point. And so it's pretty much, and then earlier today, it kind of came out like, okay, the Patriots are pretty much going to draft number three, and that person is most likely going to be Drake May. Now, this is something we always expected. I personally never really expected the Patriots to be serious about trading down. Now, it could still happen. It's possible that this is the Patriots bluffing too, because there was a while where the Patriots were saying they hadn't received a serious offer yet, and that could have been hyping things up. And then now they're saying that, I mean, multiple sources are saying that they're not going to trade down. Anything could still happen. I mean, obviously, if the Patriots receive an offer that's crazy enough, they're going to take it. But I really don't think that the Patriots are going to trade down for any reasonable offer. I think that a team like the Vikings would have to give up an insane amount of first round picks, maybe even upwards of four, in order to move up at this point, and that's just ridiculous. Like, if the Vikings did that, I would be a little bit frustrated. And so I fully expect it to go Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and then Drake May with one, two, three Bears, Commanders, and Patriots getting their quarterbacks of the future. And then that's where it gets a little more muddled. Now, things could still change in those top few spots. I don't expect them to, like I said, but things could still shift around. For now, I think we're looking at the Vikings potentially multiple, options for it. If you watch my video a few days ago previewing the draft, I talked about this already, but multiple different things the Vikings could do. Obviously, we could trade all the way up to four. We could trade up to five. I'm pretty confident the Cardinals are going to go for Marvin Harrison Jr. I expect the Chargers to go for Joe Alt. We could trade up for either of those two picks. We could even trade up with six, depending on if the Giants are going to be into potentially drafting JJ. But we could trade up as far as that to try and get JJ. It's possible that really all the cards fall into our hands and JJ's there for us at 11. It's also possible that four or five quarterbacks are gone by the time we even get to our 11th pick. Now, I think that would be insane if Penix or Bo Nix goes even before 11. I don't even think that both of those players are worth a first round pick in your typical draft. But this is such a deep draft that I just think that there will be at least five QBs going in this first round. And if one of those two, Penix or Bo Nix, is there at number 23, I definitely think the Vikings snap either one of them up. But I can definitely see a scenario where both the Raiders and the Broncos at 11 and the Raiders 14, drafting those two guys, and that no top five QB is even there for us by that 11th pick. One thing I'm hoping for is that no matter what happens, even if we don't get our QB of the future by 11, I just don't want us to trade down this year. I just want us to stick with 11 for once and go for the best player available. I'm big either QB or BPA in this draft is kind of what I'm thinking. But again, thanks so much for tuning into the draft. Skolden, couple comments. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I think you know it's tough. I am totally in favor of the Vikings trading up. But again, I just don't think that the Patriots are going to trade down unless they get an offer that would be stupid to even offer in the first place. Now, it's possible the Patriots are just putting up a smokescreen and they are willing to trade away that pick. But, and if the Vikings, if the price is, I don't know exactly what I'd say. If the price is swapping 3 and 11, the 23rd pick, and then one more first rounder, I would 100% go for that. I think that it would be worth it for a guy like Drake May, based on the way that the draft has been going, or based on the way the preview of everything has been going. I just don't think that's the price for 3 anymore. I think that it's gone beyond that, and I think the Patriots know that. They know how desperate the Vikings, the Broncos, and the Raiders are for that pick. I don't think that the Patriots are going to accept anything less than swapping 3 and 11, 23, and then 2 first rounders at this point. And do I think that's worth it? I just don't know. I'm also open to the Vikings trading up for JJ. If we trade up to 4 or 5, I think that's a little too high. I have always seen JJ as a late first round pick. Obviously, the circumstances have changed, and I try to trust, the people that are doing these all the scouting and everything like that. These people know more about these players than we do, and I've always kind of tried to give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. But I don't know. I've seen JJ. What I think people like about him is there is a very high floor. Like, I don't see JJ as completely falling off and being a backup in this league. I see him being a consistent starter, but it's just there's a chance that he could be kind of a low end starter. But what I think people like about him is there's a downside and an upside to the fact that he didn't get a whole lot of control and a lot of opportunities to let it fly with Michigan. The downside, obviously, is that there is an unknown. He could eventually end up just being a game manager that can't bring the team to the next level. But also, we have no idea what he can do in the sense that he could be just an amazing elite player if we really let him, take the keys, take the reins. And so I think that unknown is more intriguing to these scouts than it is scary. And I think fans are more scared of it than the other way around. And so that's why I think JJ is so high. You combine that championship winning pedigree with that much unknown, and I think it any GM and any head coach that has a lot of confidence that they can develop a guy, you have kind of a young guy that clearly has the composure to carry himself through the league. And then you've got these GMs and coaches that are so, you know, they have so much confidence in their ability to mold these players that a guy like JJ is really intriguing because it's just a guy with so much potential that hasn't even proven a whole lot yet. And I can see why KOC would be that willing to draft a guy that high because, again, KOC is a good quarterback coach, and he kind of showed that throughout this year where he had to bring Josh Dobbs in and without really any knowledge of the playbook, guide him through. And obviously, these quarterbacks didn't exactly work out in the way that we hoped they would, but there really wasn't that much expectation in the first place with them. I still really think that KOC is a very good, developer of players, and hopefully we'll see that over the next couple of years. But I mean, it gives you a little bit of confidence if we do draft JJ, where I feel like this staff, combined with the fact that we are giving any rookie QB that we draft this year an amazing situation with the offensive weapons we have. I mean, it's giving me more and more confidence about potentially drafting JJ. And as much as I think that he's more of a mid to late round first round pick in this draft, with as you know just QB hungry the Vikings are, I wouldn't hate moving up to 5 or 6 to draft him. Coming up here on 20 minutes, we're getting close. And again, any draft questions, any other questions you got for me in the chat, be very happy to answer. But yeah, like I said, pretty much 1, 2, 3 is set in stone at this point. I'd say 1 and 2 are set in stone. Patriots, I'd give maybe a 10% chance they trade away their third overall pick. But yeah, Caleb Williams is number 1. And that might be one of the most shocking things in recent draft history if he isn't. I really don't know what the Bears would be doing if they didn't draft him, especially now that they've shipped away Justin Fields. If it was a year earlier, I would have kept Justin Fields just to kind of have him still as a backup option, but with Justin Fields now getting up there, I could definitely see them trading him away, and I think they made the right decision to do that. But now that they did that, I mean, there's no way they don't draft Caleb Williams. But I mean, you got to think, like, the Bears at least considered it, because even trading down to 6 or 7 from 1 is a king's ransom that you'd get for it. The Bears at least considered trading down to 5 or 6 and taking JJ, and then taking away the multiple first round picks they would have gotten for it. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind keeping pick 23 either, Skolden. I think that there are positives and negatives, obviously. Trading up would be great to get a guy like Drake May, but it's just, they talked about it earlier in the draft that, like, there's usually about a 1 in 3 chance that the top QBs in the draft are going to pan out, and you're taking a heck of a risk by giving up that much for that number 3 overall. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm kind of just excited to see what happens, because I kind of understand any decision the Vikings make in this draft because they're faced with so many decisions here. Yeah, Skolden, I'm definitely following the Wolves. It's not usually something I cover on this channel, just because in kind of the hierarchy for me, it's kind of NFL and then MLB and NHL, and then it's NBA on the bottom. I'm not as big of an NBA fan. I'd say that the top 3 sports I'm like obsessive, like almost concerningly obsessive about. And then NBA, I'm kind of like a little more of a casual fan with it. But yeah, I'd still be pumped and hyped if we win the championship this year. I think that if we can win the next couple, or at least one of the next couple in Phoenix, I think if we go up 3-1, there's no way we're losing 2 straight home games. So I think the series is ours if we can win a couple in Phoenix. But then I'm concerned about the Nuggets. If we move on, I don't think we're going to beat the Nuggets. But yeah, it's been a great series so far. Anthony Edwards, if he does get an extension, I'm immediately getting a jersey. But I've been burned on that before. I got a Teddy Bridgewater jersey right before the big injury happened. So I think my plan here is I'm going to be listening kind of on my headphones because, you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you can't really play the audio the whole way through. Otherwise, you're at risk of the stream getting taken down. So I'm going to listen to it myself, but as soon as the pick is about to be played, I'll pull out my speakers and let everyone hear it and then talking about it. But it's kind of cool what they've got going on here. So I'll start listening. But you're still about 15 minutes away. I definitely like that they've been going with different venues. There was something cool about it always being in New York, but now I think it's cool that they're doing it in multiple locations. Detroit's done a pretty good job of putting it on, based on what I've seen so far. And again, I'm assuming that it's not going to start right at 7, but hopefully it starts pretty soon here. Turn it as possible. I might even be able to hear this through the headphones because it's so close to my mic. Yeah, next year is in Green Bay. I'm tempted to almost want to go as a Vikings fan. Obviously wouldn't wear a Vikings jersey to like a place like Philly, but I feel like it's fine going to Green Bay. But that would be fun. I've never even considered going to the draft before because it's never been that close, but Green Bay is a good 4 or 5 hour drive. I could make that drive. But it depends. If we trade, if we do end up giving up a king's ransom and trading up for Drake May, we wouldn't even have a first round pick next year. So maybe it wouldn't be worth it then. But this guy's got pipes. Got to keep tabs here on. Should have Adam Schefter's Twitter pulled up in case some news breaks that. I mean, at this point, we're gonna see it on ESPN just as quickly. Ooh, looks like 3 minutes ago from Adam Schefter, Eagles and Pro Bowl wide receiver A.J. Brown reached an agreement on a 3-year, $96 million extension that includes $84 million guaranteed, $32 million per year. You are killing us. Come on. I mean, this is why JJ made the move he made because he knew that all these QBs, um, commercials. I'll turn it off. Or yeah. But this is why JJ made the decision he did to not make a move or make a deal with us until closer to the season because he knew that these guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and AJ Brown were going to be making these deals, and now JJ, because I mean you can't pay JJ only $4 million more than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not trying to discount Amon-Ra's performance, but I mean I feel like with the moves that have already been made, I think he's kind of hoping Jamar Chase gets a deal done first. I don't think he will. Um, but I definitely can see now JJ making upwards of 37, 38 million a year after guys like AJ Brown and Amon Ra made the deals they made. But yeah, 32 million a year to AJ Brown. Kind of concerned about some of the other deals that are going to be made here. But I don't know. I mean, JJ's worth it. I just don't know. I think he's also waiting to see what QB we pick, and I don't know what QB. If that is the case, and he is waiting to see what QB we pick, I don't know which QBs would make him want to stay and which QBs would make him want to leave. Obviously, it's not that simple, but I wonder if there's a QB he's like, baseline, we need a guy this good, or if he's just kind of watching and curious about it. I think it's going to be more about money than anything, but I mean, he wants his stats. He doesn't want Sam Darnold throwing it to him the next 2 years. I do like that pick with the Giants going with Malik Neighbors. It depends on if the Chargers go with him or not. I think the Chargers should go Joe Alt. I mean, that would be, I think, the smart decision for them, honestly, because I don't know, Herbert needs protection. There's such a deep wide receiver class that I think the Chargers could get a good wide receiver in the second round. I think they have a second round pick. Um, but yeah, I think you've got a good pick there. I think the Giants would make, yeah, because the Chargers have the fifth overall pick also in the second round, so they have 37 overall. I think they could still get a good wide receiver with that. So if I was a Chargers fan, I'd prefer Joe Alt. I mean, that guy's a beast. But we can talk about it more as it gets there. Um, we can talk a little bit here about if it's not in the cards for the Vikings to get their QB, if they decide that to stick at 11 and JJ's not there and they don't think that Penix or Bonix is worth 11, um, there's a lot of good options because, I mean, if that many QBs are going to be taken in the top, there's going to be so many guys that are in the top 10 that would be probably going top 5 in other drafts that would be there at 11. And for me right now, if Dallas Turner's there, I would love to get Dallas Turner. Otherwise, I'm a big Terrion Arnold guy. You know, if it's between Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold as at the cornerback position, I'd instinctively when two guys are that close in ability, I want to go with the Alabama guy. Just because he's played in bigger games. You know, obviously it doesn't always that factor is not always there. You know, there's so many guys that even playing through adversity by playing at kind of a lower level university can sometimes be better. But I kind of like that pedigree from Alabama. And if we're going to draft a cornerback that high, it makes me nervous because we've had some really bad luck with drafting CBs in the first round. But obviously that was a different regime with um, just why am I blanking? Zimmer and Spielman. But hopefully, if we draft a cornerback this year, he does better things for us. Kool Aid McKinstry, I think I like him. I would love him kind of. I don't know where I would go with him. I mean, I think looking at the BPA, he's 26 here or 27. I think I'd go a little higher than that on him. But yeah, if we do end up going Jared Verse with number or some other, defensive player with number 11, or we end up going the quarterback with number 11, I think that would be a great pick at number 23. Um, of course, Nate Wiggins is also there at 25. So um, it just all depends on how the draft breaks down. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't hate having him on my team. All right, we got 5 minutes left on the clock. It's getting serious now. See what Sal Palantino has for us. Well, Yeah, that's a that's a good move to wait until you're on the clock because it that's when the desperation really reaches its peak. Ooh, got an update from the Vikings. Yeah, I don't really like lumping in JJ and Penix. It seems like such a wide range between those two, and it just sucks because Penix is such a good player, but those injuries are just terrifying. Two ACL injuries. I think he's had an issue with his shoulder before. I mean, he's the most NFL ready to be able to come in right away and make an impact, which I like with with JJ, and he's going to want a guy to have throwing him the football right away. But we'll have to see. It just depends on if you want to take a risk on Penix, and I'm willing to take the risk on Penix. I just don't know if I would want to take a risk as high as 11. I'm thinking I will definitely stream every Vikings pick in the first round. So if we hold on to our 23, I'll probably end up going as far as 23. Obviously, that is a long time to stream, um, and I might have to take like a quick break in between because I'm streaming on a Sony A7 III, and those things can sometimes get a little hot when you stream for multiple hours. So I'm thinking maybe around 8 I'll take a quick break and come back. But yeah, for sure if the Vikings hold on to 23, I'll pretty much be on stream for the whole time. But if we trade away that pick and only have one, I guess I'll just kind of play it by ear. But yeah, I always forget every year how long it takes to get through all these picks. Usually the draft goes from 7 all the way to like 10 or even 11 sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna stream as long as I can, but we'll see based on the picks that the Vikings use. Yeah, I mean, um, if I had a dream scenario, it would be somehow Jaden Daniels falling. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But if you talk about my dream player to be on the Vikings, it would be Jaden Daniels. Like obviously, you talk about the concern with running quarterbacks and the like RG3 effect and how running QBs can be easily damaged. But think about that RPO with the running ability of Jaden Daniels and the other weapons we have, it would be really difficult to stop. But obviously, we're not really in a position to get Jaden Daniels in this draft unless something crazy happens. Again, crazier things have happened in the draft, but I like how they're doing more of this stuff, talking with the players before the fact, and more players I feel like are actually going to the draft. There we go. That's one of my top guys. Again, that Alabama pedigree. It's really intriguing to pick a guy from Alabama. See, I gained a sub since I started the stream. If that's one of you guys, thank you. Appreciate continuing to spread the word about the channel. Obviously, I have fun doing it regardless of who's watching, but it's always fun to have more people watching. So spread the word. Spread the word about this stream specifically too. If you have people that think it would be fun to watch, 7 o'clock. Let's get this thing started. I got a feeling it's gonna be a few more minutes, but man, it's just like it's as a football nerd, it's like a holiday. It's a holiday for me. Would never miss the NFL draft. Panthers beating the Lightning in the first intermission. Hurricanes up 2-0. Those are the the two I was hoping. I don't know if anyone else is a hockey fan, but there's really nothing like playoff hockey. Magic are killing the Cavs. Oh man, that guy's Jay and his Jets light up thing is out. So it was just the Ets. Yeah, I definitely think it would be fun to go to Green Bay next year for the draft. It seems like a really good energy. But man, that's a lot of people. Yeah, I was right. 7:02 and they're going to a commercial. I had a feeling it wasn't actually going to start at 7. All right, everyone. What's your prediction for the most surprising either pick or trade or move in general in this first round? I probably should have been prepared with my own before I asked that question, but if you've got an idea in your mind of something you think will happen that's unexpected, I think the first four are pretty clear. Like I think the Cardinals are asking for a lot to move up or to move down. So I would be very surprised if they end up getting a suitor for that fourth pick. I could see the Chargers doing something surprising with their fifth pick. Again, I think Joe Alt is the best pick. Neighbors wouldn't be bad either with the wide receivers they've shipped off this offseason. But for some reason, I could definitely see the Chargers making a questionable move at 5. I think I think the Giants potentially going with McCarthy at 6 if no one trades up could potentially be a surprising move. There's also teams like the Titans that are seem like they're riding with Levis, but you never really know. And it's always fun when there's teams that have so many needs like that where you have no idea what they're gonna do, like the Titans. Were they announcing the schedule release here? I hope it's coming out early May this year. Yeah, that would definitely be a dream pick to get Jaden Daniels at 11. That's definitely a dream pick if ever there was one. But yeah, I mean, I could see in some crazy scenario Drake May dropping for no reason. I don't think I can see Jaden Daniels stock dropping. Obviously, getting Daniels at 11. I mean, obviously getting Daniels at 23 would be even better. But yeah, I heard Roger Goodell got some sort of like back injury or back surgery or something a couple weeks ago, and so they're like not sure if he's going to be able to do his patented pick or hugs. I think Adam Schefter tweeted that, so I guess we'll see there. Yeah, Adam Schefter tweeted it out that so it's Amon-Ra St. Brown got 30 million a year, AJ Brown got 32 a year, Devontae Smith got 25 a year. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Devontae Smith deserves more than that if AJ Brown got 32. I feel like they're both kind of equally as impactful on the Eagles. Maybe that's a bad take, but I don't know. 7 million more a year feels a little much. I think the Eagles are just trying to upcharge to see how much they can get the Vikings to pay for JJ because they hate us that much. That's my theory. Okay, 7:07, and we might finally actually be starting the draft. There's Goodell. Boo. I'll join in. Boo. Oh, and there's Eminem. I didn't expect him to actually. I don't know why I didn't expect him to be out there. That was a little cringy. That was intense. Yeah, that was really cringy. The fact that Roger Goodell made a joke like that and you just didn't. Eminem was just standing there, like not even reacting to it. That was a little rough. Makes me feel like he didn't even warn Eminem that that joke was coming and he was just standing like, what? Oh, there he is. Best running back to ever play the game, in my opinion. He would have shattered so many more records if he had played longer. If he had kept playing the best wide receiver to ever play the game, but he didn't play long enough to earn that. My gosh, it's 10 minutes after 7 to start the draft. Yes, I'm ready to get the show on the road. Let's go. The madness starts. I forget they get 10 minutes on the clock. That's why the that's why the first round takes like 5 hours. The Bears should not take long on this pick. They're probably waiting to see if the Vikings will give them 10 first rounders for number 1. I really like I hope the Vikings do the same thing this year that they did last year where they did like the whole, documentary thing where they showed like pretty much the entire first round in the war room making all the decisions to draft. Like I like how they're doing a lot of more like I mean Zimmer never would have allowed that. Like they showed clips. They showed like that one clip of them laughing when the Eagles didn't pick JJ, but like they didn't really do like a full thing like that. I think that's a lot of fun. I hope they do that again, especially because this year is going to be probably crazy. I like how they're already showing the highlights. Like it's pretty obvious, but every year I have this like irrational like concern that a team is gonna miss their pick. Like it's happened before. I remember the Vikings like years ago. Like this was years ago, but like there was that one year where they missed their pick, and so multiple teams were able to get their picks in before them. Like they didn't completely lose their pick, but they ended up picking like 3 picks lower because that happened. But that hasn't happened in years. So the pick is not in yet. I really do wonder what the price would be for the Bears. Because like it doesn't matter how much you have your guy, like there's gotta be a price for every pick. Like it would be insane, but I wonder what their price is. Yeah, they look like they're pretty ready though. I mean, he's not wrong. Jeez. Yeah, the more I see tape from Jaden Daniels, the more I feel like he's gonna end up being the most successful QB in this draft. Cause like the new age QB is everything Jaden Daniels is. I mean, like he is just kind of a another Lamar Jackson in terms of at least his running ability, and that's kind of the way the league is going. But all these QBs in the first round have escapability. There's a difference between being a running QB and being a mobile QB. I think all these QBs in the first round are mobile enough, at least. Besides, maybe, I don't know, JJ McCarthy has legs too. But like, May has kind of the running ability Allen does. Caleb Williams has escapability more than anything. But Jaden Daniels is like that true running QB. And that comes with such an advantage. The NFC needs more. The NFC needs more talented QBs. I feel like the AFC is just stacked. All right, pick is in. So yeah, you'll have to when I unplug the speakers here, you're gonna have to tell me how well you can hear this. All right. Yeah, they made their move. I can't imagine they went anything other than Caleb Williams. Right, I'll wait until the last second here. I just so much anxiety about this stream getting taken down. All right. Yeah, I don't think anyone was surprised there. Dang it, I lost my cord. Caleb Williams seems very pumped to be a Bear, which, good for him. I'm glad he's excited to be a Bear. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, Caleb Williams is probably handed the best situation for a Bears player in the last like few top picks that they've had. Fields was kind of thrown into a situation with not a lot of, definitely not a lot of help on the O line, and not a lot of help in the wide receiver room. I mean, he only had a guy maybe, and Mitchell Trubisky even wasn't really given the best situation. He was given a great defense, but he wasn't given a lot of good weapons to throw to either. Yeah, so now I think once again the next the next three picks are pretty obvious, unless some crazy pick or some crazy trade is made. Washington is gonna go Jane Daniels. We'll see on potential trade for the Patriots, but it's pretty locked in now. They're not going to go for one. I know that I know that the Patriots and the Cardinals are not going to the Patriots and the Cardinals are going to wait until they're on the clock to go for a trade. But I don't know about any of the other teams. I don't know if the Chargers, the Giants would also wait until they're on the clock. Certainly would maximize what they get for it, but also if they want their pick gone, they want to pull the trigger also. But I mean, I don't know. It feels like the team trading up always, or the team trading down always has the most power. Because worst case scenario, you don't get something done, and then you still have a top five pick in the draft, which is still good no matter what way you slice it. So yeah, this day. This day has to be real hard on a lot of people's blood pressure in those war rooms. All right. Well, I guess I should be looking at I should be looking at a different person on Twitter now because I don't think Adam Schefter is going to be able to do much posting on Twitter. Gosh, who else is there? Is Pelissero good? But again, I don't really know what would be put on Twitter before we find it out on live. I just still like the idea of having it up for me. Take another look at the. Oh man, the Lightning are ahead now, 2-1. No offense to my friend Jared, but rooting for the Panthers. Hurricanes still up 2-0. I'm always the guy that roots for the team that has never won a championship before, so it's kind of my thing. As a Vikings fan, I try to live vicariously through other teams to try and win a championship. I think that's the reason. Magic killing the Cavs still 72-49 in the third. That might be a really home game heavy series. Whoever has the home game will probably win. Knicks 76ers, every game has been close. Stephen A's got one eye on the draft right now and one eye on the Knicks game. It's crazy. I've been live for almost an hour now. I really know how to talk time away, don't I? All right, pick is in for the Commanders. So that means New England's technically on the clock. So now the question will be answered in the next 10 minutes if a team's going to be able to trade up for that pick. I don't really see why the Patriots wouldn't go Drake May there. Like I understand your concern. I understand how like you don't want to throw a QB into a situation where you don't have a lot of options for them, and that's happened a lot in the past where players have been thrown in like that and hasn't worked out. But I mean, you got a potential QB of the future like Drake May. I don't know why you wouldn't go for him when you are without really. I mean, you trade away Mac Jones in the offseason. There's got to be a reason you did that. All right, here we go.
With the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels,
Yep.
quarterback, LSU.
Good pick. Good decision. Sucks to not see him go to the Vikings, but it was really never in the cards. Back when back when people thought there was any chance at all that the Commanders were going with Drake May, you thought maybe there was a chance, but no. So yeah, probably 8 minutes left here on the clock for New England to make up their mind. Wouldn't it be funny if they went JJ McCarthy here? That would be funny. I mean, I bet the Chargers or the Cardinals are hoping that they go with JJ McCarthy because could you imagine the flurry of teams trying to trade up to get Drake May last second? A lot of energy from these quarterbacks so far. I mean, they know they're getting top 5 pick money, so I guess I'd be excited too. Well, maybe Jaden Daniels being on the Commanders will make things just a tiny bit harder for the Eagles next year. That's as much as you can ask for. I didn't know he was on Arizona State. I'm gonna change this back. I got the like I think it's unidirectional or whatever it is, where like my mic only picks up what's right in front, and then I have the omnidirectional. So I've been kind of toggling between when it's omnidirectional, you can hear the speaker better. So that's why I keep going like this. In case you're wondering, you're probably not. All right. Patriots haven't made their pick yet, but it's almost halfway through their time. Come on, Patriots, pick JJ. I know you wanted JJ, but it was the wrong JJ, and we're not giving up that JJ. So just go with a different JJ. Maybe get the other JJ, and then we can pick up the May May. Might have been one of the worst jokes I've ever told. All right, the pick is in. All right, they didn't trade. Part of me was kind of hoping. Part of me was kind of still holding on to hope that they would, but I think they were asking for too much. I can't imagine that we would have gotten up to 3 without giving up 4 total overall picks. I'm thinking they would have asked for the swap of 3 and 11, 23 this year. They probably would have asked for at least another first and a couple seconds, if not 2 more firsts. And I don't know. I think Maybe JJ will be there at 6 or 7, but I guess we'll see. Depends how desperate the other teams are for him. It's gonna suck to see Drake May on the Patriots, but I guess we'll have to root against him now. I mean, I think I think part of everyone knew that that was always going to happen. I think they were just trying to drum up the hype to see just how much they could get, and then they realized that teams weren't going to give up as much as they were hoping, and I can't imagine that Drake May is too excited to go to the Patriots over us. Because I mean, the opportunity to throw to JJ. All right.
With the third pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Drake May.
Yep. Yeah. Man, it sucks. It sucks to know that, man, it was gonna be too much. I know it was gonna be too much. But man, it's gonna suck to see this footage now, knowing that he's not gonna be on our team. But I mean, there are also a lot of people saying that if there's any QB that has the best chance of being a bust this year, in terms of how high he's picked, that's Drake May, and I don't know. I mean, I think people's concerns are the whole taking risks thing because he does take a lot of risks downfield. It's a very similar comparison to Josh Allen, so I can definitely see why people would be concerned about that. When your ceiling is Josh Allen and your floor is being an absolute turnover machine, I kind of get the concern, but I mean, the mobility's so great, like they were just talking about here. Also, on top of that, he played as well as he did at North Carolina, which doesn't exactly have the high caliber wide receivers that the other quarterbacks in this draft have. So, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what else happens here. So now we got Cardinals at 4. I don't expect them to trade their pick away. Marvin Harrison Jr. is right there for the taking. I'm sure the Chargers are hoping that they trade away their pick. But I bet he's excited at least to be on the East Coast because he lived at least in North Carolina at one point. I guess we'll have to see how Drake May likes the Patriots though, because apparently Mac Jones did not have fun there. But of course, that was under Belichick, so guess we'll see. All right. All right. Well, Adam Schefter kind of giving us spoilers. The whole the whole pick is in. Yeah, the pick is in thing just flashed, and Schefter told us already that they're gonna pick. So I don't know if that's true. I do think that sometimes the whole school the school you go to can definitely you get that extra boost because you went to Ohio State over Washington. Like I don't think that should be the really the reason why you're picked over, but I understand it. Like that pedigree of it's the same thing like I talked about with Alabama and getting a cornerback from Alabama because they cornerback I'm saying not quarterback. They just have such a high pedigree of defensive players all the time that you just want to get a guy from Alabama. It shouldn't be the reason why you get a guy over another guy just for that reason, but Marvin Harrison Jr. being from Ohio State and getting that high level of play. But at the same time, Neighbors played in the national championship this year, so who knows? But all right,
Quarterback in this draft. Here comes the commish. With the fourth pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah, okay. So first four picks, first four picks have been right from me so far. But again, those are the ones that I think a lot of people were expecting. Now we'll see if I'm right about the Chargers. I think they should go Joe Alt. I think they will go Malik Neighbors. I've got a feeling that they're going to be too tempted to replace that wide receiver position when they should be fortifying their offensive line. Yeah, it's difficult to not go MH MHJ. I couldn't spell for a second there. It's hard not to go with him in that pick. Yeah, he's insane. The thing is, it's kind of a weird situation. But almost I feel like the Cardinals situation and the Bears situation wasn't that different from each other. I feel like all of a sudden Kyler Murray came back from injury last year and people were like, "Oh, well, he'll be right back to where he was." And I'm not saying, "Oh, hi." 1 second. Sorry, my wife got me Culver's. I don't worry, I won't grossly eat it on camera with the mute on, with the mic on. I'll take a break here at some point to eat it. If there's anything I hate more, it's listening to people eat. So I will not subject you to that. After the Chargers pick, I'll take just a brief step aside while I eat my food. But if the Giants make a pick, I'll come back and talk about it. I don't want to be that person grossly chomping on stuff on the stream. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, the Cardinals. I don't think I'm not saying Kyler Murray played as badly in the last couple years as much Justin Fields did, but like I think if the Cardinals were top three, they might have considered going with one of the top three QBs. But I don't think for a second they considered getting JJ because I just don't think they thought he was worth more than Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think they wanted to see one last breath from Kyler Murray because I don't know. I feel like he's had flashes, whereas Justin Fields really hasn't shown anything. So I kind of understand. Surprised they're going to commercial with the Chargers having only 3.5 left on the clock. Yeah, I'm gonna get my stuff ready to eat during this commercial break. They're making a Despicable Me 4? I don't know how I missed that. I mean, honestly, I've actually been fine with the Despicable Me movies. Even the flashback one with young Gru. I think they're pretty funny. Like I don't think they've messed up the movies like some comedies have done. I mean, I guess that's what you expect for a movie from Steve Carell. Oh, I messed it up. I thought it looked better than that before. All right. That's what you'll be seeing when I take a break in a few minutes there. The Chargers are taking a while. Okay, the pick is in. So the Chargers did not trade their pick either. They seem like they were honestly one of the more eager teams to trade their pick in the top rounds. I feel like the Cardinals kind of were saying they needed to be blown away. Okay. Just to recap, my pick, I think the Chargers should pick Joe Alt. I think they're going to go wide receiver here. I think they're going to have a hard time turning that down. All right, Adam Schefter, tell us what's going to happen. I mean, at this point, I feel like if the Giants want to pick JJ at 6, honestly, let them. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to trade up that high. All right, here we go. All right. Gotta go Joe Alt here.
With the fifth pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Joe Alt, tackle, Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was a good decision. Obviously, if the QBs weren't there and Joe Alt somehow fell to, gosh, that guy, he almost looks like in high school to me. All right, I'm gonna take a brief break here. If the Giants pick early and come back early, I'll come back and talk about it. But I'm gonna take a quick break here to eat a little bit of dinner here. All right, we got Giants pick in here. I'm thinking either JJ or Malik Neighbors. I think those are really the two options here. I think those are really the guys you have to go for if you're the Giants. But I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of good options at this point. The top guys like you can't mess this up. Pick this guy picks are pretty much done. looking at the best available here, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you could go Dallas Turner. Roma Dunze could also be picked over Neighbors here. You never know. Also, I messed up earlier. I said that Neighbors was Washington, but no, he's LSU, which is another great pedigree. So it's actually Roma Dunze. I was thinking about Roma Dunze. I kind of forgot that Neighbors was that guy from LSU. Um, but yeah, I think really the only options are one of those two wide receivers, Dallas Turner, or going for JJ. And you just paid Daniel Jones a lot of money for an extension. So if I'm the Giants, I wait one more year to draft a QB. But they're in a position where they could go for JJ right now, and I get that that can be a little bit. All right, let's find out here.
With the sixth pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Malik Neighbors, wide receiver,
All right. So JJ McCarthy falls to 7 now. We'll have to see now if Tennessee or Atlanta trades their pick, or if we continue to let JJ fall. If he goes to us at 11, I'll take it. I just don't see a situation where the Broncos and the Raiders both don't trade up and try to jump us at 11. All right, so the pick is in for the Titans. So they did not trade away their pick. In terms of teams that would be ahead of us already that could potentially still pick JJ over us, this is kind of the last team, in my opinion. You know, Atlanta, maybe because Kirk is getting older. Maybe I mean not Chicago. But then after that you've got so I'm trying to remember who's 10. I should remember who's 10. Um, 10 is the Jets. I mean, that's an underrated team that could potentially go for JJ. Like, you know, no one's really talking about them, but I mean, with Aaron Rodgers only having a couple years left in his career, imagine imagine a guy like Rodgers teaching JJ. I mean, honestly, that's really intriguing. So I would be honestly not surprised if the Jets went for him too. Um, but we're getting to a point now where the price to move up is going to get lower and lower. We're not going to have to give up multiple first round picks anymore to move up only 3 or 4 spots. Um, Once we get out of that premier top 5, the only thing is we might still have to give up a lot more to move up 4 picks in this draft than other drafts because we are trying to outbid all these other teams still. It's possible that we can find some way for JJ to get to us at 11. I feel like the Broncos have been they've shown so much desperation for a quarterback in these last few weeks. I do not see the Broncos letting JJ slide to us at 11. But it depends if are the Vikings willing to let the Broncos give up multiple picks to move up and then make some other decision at 11. You never know. And there's also an opportunity for the Vikings to trade up from 23, which is something I haven't talked about yet. The Vikings could, if they don't think that Penix or Bo Nix will make it to 23, we could trade up to, I don't know, 17 or something like that. The only thing is we'd have to give up draft capital from next year's draft, probably like a second rounder maybe. And I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. You saw nothing. Let's do another check of the scores throughout the other leagues. Yes, Panthers took the lead back. They're up 3-2 in the second intermission. And the Hurricanes are up 3-1 with 6:23 remaining. Twins won today, in case you haven't been paying attention to that. They've now won 4 straight. Magic are beating Cleveland 104-66 right now. That's insane. All right. I feel like the Titans have enough investment in Levis where they would wait one more year. And if Levis doesn't pan out this year, maybe they'll go a QB next year. I don't know if going with a QB is necessarily the move to show confidence in Levis this year, but I don't know. QB competition could still be good. It's just you don't want to throw a guy like McCarthy into such a bad situation with really no help. So let's see here.
With the 7th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select J.C. Latham, tackle, Alabama.
Ah, trying to turn off the sound as quickly as possible because again, I don't know how much it's going to take for the sound of the stream to get through. I don't think I really have that popular of a stream for them to do anything anyway. But yeah, so JC Latham, if I can get to this quick enough and see, he was he was one of the top offensive linemen. So getting Levis some help, I can see that. All right, so now we're 3 picks away. So again, the price continues to drop to move up. It all depends on if the Vikings are getting word or any kind of inclination that the the Broncos or Raiders are also planning on moving up. Because the thing is, the Vikings are gonna find out because like another team, you call a team and they say, well, this team offered me this, and that's how you get leverage. So it's not like the Broncos or Raiders could like sneak it by us without us knowing, because the other teams are gonna try and get as much as possible for it. So, and I think the Vikings have the most capital. The Falcons' pick is in, so it doesn't look like they are going to be trading away. It's always the offensive linemen that have the best hugs. Well, I mean, it looks like Roger Goodell is at least feeling good enough to give some hugs. Yeah, again, another Alabama player. So I think they said that's the 6th year in a row now. Oh, no. They said the Falcons are considering a QB, which is not something I expected. I mean, I don't know why they would do that because not only did they sign Kirk, they signed him to what, a 4-year deal, right? I think it was a 4-year deal, right? I mean, that would make no sense. It's a 4-year deal. Why in the world would the Falcons draft a QB in the first round when they have Kirk under contract for 4 years? I don't understand that. I guess we'll find out. But a quarterback. Maybe they're just trying to drum up concern, but I'll be astounded if that's the pick. I mean, I think Falcons fans are going to be really mad if this is the decision because they could have just drafted JJ McCarthy and not spent, how much money did they spend on Kirk Cousins? I mean, yeah, I don't know why, I don't know how they don't go Dallas Turner here. Yeah, that's another good point. They just brought it up. The Falcons are not that far away here from taking the South with how bad the rest of the South has been. I'm just I'm on the edge of my seat here. It would really suck if the Falcons were the team to take our future quarterback potentially away from us. And Dallas Turner is the next best player available according to ESPN. I mean, that's the pick if you're the Falcons. I'm going to be equally as confused as frustrated if they go with JJ here. I mean, here we go.
With the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr., quarterback of Washington. Wow. And so the first stunner. Wow. Stunner, right. I'm not saying
Okay, I got it. Sorry. I'm sorry, but what? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited that JJ's still on the board. They not only went with a QB, when they, in no stretch of the imagination, needed it this year. And then, not only that, but they picked a QB that is supposed to be lower in the class than JJ. I'm sorry, I'm astounded by that. So, Kirk Cousins is on a four. I'm still confused about this. Kirk Cousins is on a 4-year deal with the Falcons. And you're drafting Michael Penix, who you're already drafting at 8 when he's probably a late first round, if not second round talent right now, based on most scouts. On top of that, what the funniest thing is about this is that Penix is also considered probably the most QB or NFL ready player in this draft, in the sense that he's going to be able to come right on and be able to make an impact. And now you're going to make him sit out of all these other draft picks. Like, Michael Penix Jr. was waiting to maybe be in the mid round and probably wait until the late rounds. And here he is getting picked at 8 over JJ. This could end up, if it somehow works out and Penix is the next best QB, great for them. But this could end up being a big blunder for them if this doesn't work out. I mean, oh my gosh. So now the Bears pick is in, and Rome Odunze is still there. So yeah, I think it's pretty easy pick here for. Well, actually, the Bears did. So okay, I'm gonna say that Rome Odunze is the right pick for the Bears here because yes, they got Keenan Allen, and yes, they got who did the Bears get this offseason? They got someone else too, a good guy. I'm blanking on the name. I'll look it up. Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, um, Keenan Allen is old and injury prone. So even if this is going to be their wide receiver 3, you need that wide receiver 3 if you're the Bears because of that injury history. I swear, who else did they get? They got DeAndre Swift. They got Keenan Allen. I thought they got someone else. Anyway, I'm blanking. But I definitely think that Rome Odunze is still the best pick for the Bears, despite getting Keenan Allen. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting one of the top cornerbacks on the board as well. You got Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell still there. Um, Brock Bowers is still sitting there. There's going to be a team in the mid rounds that's going to be very happy to get Brock Bowers because he, in other drafts with less wide receiver and QB talent. All right, here we go.
with the 9th pick In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze.
Yep. Yeah. Good pick. All right, so now, unless a team jumps ahead of the Vikings at 10, the Vikings could pick JJ at 11, and he'd be sitting right there for him. The Vikings wouldn't even need to trade up to 5 or 6 like we thought. So JJ shot up the draft boards this offseason, but clearly not as much as people thought he was going to. I mean, I even saw people thinking that he was going to go to the Patriots at 3, which I never really thought was, oh, trading pick to the Vikings. All right, we're getting JJ. We got to get JJ at 10. So I wonder what the trade is, because it's possible we still had to outbid the Broncos and the Raiders. But if we give up a little bit of draft capital to move up and get JJ, like I've said my piece about him. I think that there's a chance he ends up being, just a game manager. But you know what? If we get him at 10, based on how much hype he's been getting in these last few weeks, I would take it. I would certainly take it. And if we're only moving up 1, I don't see us having to give up our 23 this year for that. So we hopefully will still get our 23 this year too, which would be great. I would think that this would be like maybe a 4th or a 3rd. Adam Schefter, do you have the trade details yet? No, you don't. Yeah. I sure hope we didn't give up too much. But, I mean, we thought we were going to have to give up like a couple first rounders to move all the way up to 5. And since we didn't have to do that, I'll take that as a win. But I don't see why else the Vikings would trade up if it wasn't to get our guy. All right. Here we go. Ooh, pick is in. It didn't take him long after trading to make the pick. Okay. I'm going to look at this camera right here. If this pick is Bo Nix, I might just stop the stream. I'm going to be frustrated if this is Bo Nix. But I mean, the Vikings would know that they would not have to trade up to get Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is going late first round. It's got to be JJ. If it's Bo Nix, I will take a break from the stream for sure, if not worse. I was nervous that we were going to have to go with Bo Nix after all the other quarterbacks went early. And I have a very bad feeling about Bo Nix. I feel like I see a lot of Christian Ponder in him, which any Vikings fan just shuddered at that name. It's kind of like the same situation he had a very college-friendly scheme that he was playing under. And if one of the biggest concerns about your draft profile is that you can't throw deep balls, then that's probably a red flag that you might not be great in the NFL. Obviously, there's been some great quarterbacks that people have said bad things about their arm speed and strength, but I mean, for the most part, if one of the biggest concerns is that you can't throw the ball deep, that's not something you usually like. And again, you have such a college-friendly scheme, which some people say that about JJ, but I don't know if that's necessarily the same comparison to make. I have so much stress that it's gonna be Bo Nix somehow. I I feel like that's something the Vikings would do. See if Tom Pelissero knows yet what the trade is for. Okay, so we traded a 4th and a 5th round to the Jets. And we also got. Okay, so we swapped 4th rounders with them because 30. Oh, no, wait, not even close. What's pick 203? That's pretty late in the draft then. That's like a 7th. Yeah, so we traded a 4th and a 5th, and we got a 6th from them in order to trade up, which I'll take. Like it kind of sucks that we have to give up that much to move up one pick, but again, we were trying to outbid the Broncos and the Raiders, and we thought we were going to have to give up our 23 and probably next year's first to get JJ. So as long as this is JJ, I'm fine with that. But again, if it's Bo Nix, if it is Bo Nix, come on. And McCarthy seems happy, which is a great indicator because the opportunity to throw to Justin Jefferson would make you smile the way he just smiled. Come on. No Bo Nix. No Bo Nix. Apparently, there was a 19% chance he'd be available. All right, people. Watch us get like the 6th best offensive lineman in the draft with this pick. I'm just being overly negative for no reason because I'm nervous about the pick. Dang, this is taking a long time to announce. The next team already has 5 minutes left on the clock. We're gonna get behind here. I agree. They're talking about how this is the best situation for any quarterback to be in is in Minnesota. Only thing is our offensive line still isn't great. But hopefully we can shore that up. Maybe we can even get a guy at 23. All right.
To help make the Minnesota Vikings selection, we are honored to have with us the surviving mother, brothers, and nephew of fallen hero, United States Army Sergeant Zachary Ewing.
That's cool.
Zachary died after a battle with cancer.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
After he was injured during his second deployment to Iraq. We salute him and thank his family and TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, which offers care to those grieving the loss of a military loved one. I'm now going to turn this over to Sergeant Ewing's nephew, Asher, who will announce the pick in honor of his uncle.
With the 10th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select
JJ McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
All right. Well, we've got some. Obviously, there's going to be mixed emotions within the fan base with this. I think that a lot of people thought McCarthy was way too high based on what I've seen scouts talking about, based on what I've seen. I'm going to have faith that it was right for McCarthy to be moving up this high in the draft. I mean, there's got to be a reason why he jumped up for so many people. Like, the entire league saw him as this high. It's not just the Vikings. And so, McCarthy delivered when he needed to. I mean, that was a tight window pass I'm seeing right here on the film. And I think that the sheer volume that he had in terms of the running game and just the amount that he handed off the ball, that's kind of what people are concerned about, is that he hasn't had a lot of opportunities to lead an offense and really have like a pass first opportunity. And now you're going into a league in the NFL where it is pass first. But he just needs the volume of throws, like they said. He needs repetition. He needs the practice. He could eventually be groomed to be an amazing quarterback. And he has the weapons available to him to make that happen. If JJ McCarthy is going to pan out, this is the team to do it with. And that's what we know, is that if JJ McCarthy doesn't pan out here, he was not going to pan out anywhere. A lot of teams wanted this guy. The Vikings got him. And as much as a lot of people are going to say he was picked too early, maybe that's true. But it was a draft where a lot of people were desperate for a QB, and the Vikings could have traded up to 5 to get him, and we didn't have to do that. We only gave up a 4th and a 5 and got a 6th in order to do it. So, all in all, I'm happy. I'm happy with this decision, and I respect it. Obviously, the best case scenario would have been getting Drake May. I would have been jumping up and down ecstatic if that happened, but I am content with this, and I am excited to see what he can do with us in the next couple years. Of course, getting a guy like McCarthy means that we are almost for sure going to have a full year of Sam Darnold playing football for us next year, which is not exactly inspiring. But if it means developing this guy, I definitely don't want to throw a guy out there before he's ready. And so I think that this is the right decision. Throwing him to a great situation. O'Connell is hopefully going to do great things with him. So we'll have to see what happens. But now I think that, because the only issue is I don't think there's any QB that would have been there at 23 that would have been anywhere near JJ, because now the gap between him and Bo Nix to me is a full round. And I don't think Bo Nix is going to last until the second round. And I don't even know if I'd want him in the second round. So it was like, either get McCarthy a little bit earlier than you necessarily think he's worth, or you're not going to get a top tier quarterback in this draft. I think we made the right decision here, and I'm content with it. But now the Jets pick at 11. We've got a couple of picks here now with the Broncos and Raiders. They wanted a quarterback in this draft. They didn't end up getting him. The one they wanted anyway. Oh, the Jets are already picking. Here we go.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Olu Fashanu, tackle, Penn State.
Absolutely.
And those Jet fans should be happier than they look.
And if the Vikings weren't going for a QB this year, well, actually no, he's more of an outside tackle. Vikings really only need a guard. Our tackles are actually great. But yeah, I mean, the Jets are going to be very happy about this. Aaron Rodgers is going to be very happy about it. Because I mean, if you look at best available right now, you've got a while before you get to the next best wide receiver. Obviously, if like Roma Romaduze had fallen this far, the Jets would have gotten him. But I mean, you've got Brian Thomas Jr. at the 14th next player available or next best player available as your next best wide receiver. So you got to go with the next best um, uh, offensive lineman with that pick. But now looking at it, you've got the Broncos, and then you immediately have the Raiders. Um, and so now we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We've got 12 picks before it comes back to us. Um, so there is a chance here that, I mean, it's possible that one of the top cornerbacks falls that far, but almost for sure not. So it's possible Cooper DeJean stays at that spot. But most likely the next best cornerback when we get back will be Nate Wiggins. We could go for a guy like Chop Robinson if he stays at edge. I don't expect Jared Verse to be available, but I think the next few picks will be a little bit more of a crapshoot on who is going to be available. But I'm gonna take a brief step aside here and finish my dinner, and then I will be back. But again, JJ is the pick, and I'm perfectly content with it. I think that it's a good pick considering the situation that we're in as a franchise. Welcome back. The Broncos pick is in. We'll take a look. You might be able to see what it's like for me to film a raw reaction live, because I'm probably about to film one. But here comes the Bronco selection. Oh, I don't have time now. Oh my gosh. They picked Bo Nix. Wow. I definitely do not believe that. 6 picks, 6 quarterbacks that were picked in the first 12. And I think maybe 4 of them deserve to be 12. I don't even necessarily think McCarthy in a typical draft. I mean, I don't know. McCarthy was probably drafted around where he should have been, maybe a little too high, but like Nix and Penix shouldn't even have been really in the first round, maybe late first round. I mean, I'm looking here. Besides the Raiders, maybe they thought the Raiders were going to get him, but besides the Raiders, right below them, I mean, I don't know if the Saints would have gotten him. The Seahawks are good with Geno. Got the Bengals, Rams, Steelers, Dolphins. I really don't think that there's any team that would have. Wait, I thought the Broncos had another pick, though. They don't. I thought they had a pick later on in the draft, like in the first round, but I guess I'm wrong about that. But yeah, I think Bo Nix is a mid-second round selection, honestly. There's not even anyone watching right now. I don't know why I'm even streaming. All right, welcome back. I so first of all, I'll stop saying anything about Bo Nix. I'll just let myself. I'll just let that go because I could talk for 20 minutes about how bad of a decision I think that was. I mean, I certainly hope that the Broncos end up regretting that decision because of how much I hate Sean Payton. If there's any team I'm happy that picked Bo Nix, I'm glad it's the Broncos. But I do like the Brock Bowers pick. I mean, at this point, you don't have a QB that you can draft that's worth a first round pick. So might as well go for another weapon. You know, obviously Gardner Minshew is not the best QB, but you're getting him the best possible situation by now Devontae Adams and then Brock Bowers as well on your offense. Eventually, I mean, you could go for a QB, you know, late in the draft and just see if it pans out. But it's looking like, you know, Spencer Rattler is the next best position, and that's probably late third round, early fourth. So you might as well wait now for your pick. I mean, Joe Milton might honestly be a better pick in my opinion than Spencer Rattler at this point. So we'll see what happens there, but I think the Raiders for now should stick with Gardner Minshew this season unless, you know, a third or fourth rounder can beat them out for the starting job and see what happens from there. Now you got the Saints on the board, and it's looking here like now we are, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. We're 9 picks are going to happen now before our next one. Looking here at the best available, Dallas Turner I think is going to go pretty soon. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Saints. I think that, I think he would be a good pick for them. But we've got Turner, and then we got the 2 top cornerbacks remaining in the draft. Still, no cornerback has been taken. You know, Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold are still there. I can't imagine they last 10 more picks or 9 more picks to us. Laiatu Latu is also still sitting there. Obviously, he's got all of his injury concerns, so I'm not sure about that one either. But if Byron Murphy is sitting there, I mean, that's 5th best player, possibly not there yet. I am honestly really tempted if Graham Barton is still there. He's the 8th best player remaining. I mean, I would love to not have to have Garrett Bradbury as our center anymore. And he's a fantastic center, 6'5", 313 from Duke. Honestly, either him or Cooper DeJean or Nate Wiggins, or obviously if there's a guy like Arnold, Mitchell, Latu, or Murphy that's somehow still available, or Troy Fatanu at guard. Honestly, that might be the more needed position there. There's a lot of good guys we could still get, is what I'm getting at here. I would be happy with a lot of different picks still to go. And they're gone again.